Alec, Peirce, Scuba, and I'm at Dirty Adventures Scuba. Great little store in Georgetown. I'll tell you at the end of this video why it's called Dirty Adventures. It's got nothing to do with Jeff. He's a great guy, really is. Anyway, I wanted to take it just a minute and talk to you about service. Some of you guys that are diving very regularly, we're taking your gear in maybe 2 or 3 times a year to have it serviced. But most divers, you know, if you're getting it serviced once a year, then that's more than adequate. If you haven't dived for 2 or 3 years, well, then you should really take it in before you go for a dive to be sure that it hasn't, the seats haven't set, the rubber hasn't rotted, and so on. Point is that everybody has to go for service occasionally, okay? And you probably have a local dive store, an LDS we call it, local dive store, that you frequent. How do you know he's doing a good job? Well, the obvious answer to that is you jump in the water and the gear works perfectly. It's smooth, airflow, no leaks, no bubbles, and you're diving at 25 feet or 150 feet. The gear's perfect. That's the best way now. The gear's working perfectly. Hey, where's the beef? But there are other little telltale signs as well. It's not often, it shouldn't be anymore, that when you take your regulator in for service, the serviceman reaches up for a little box in the wall, opens it, and takes out a filter for your regulator. And then he takes the O-ring over here. He doesn't, usually that's not the case anymore. Using generic parts. That's right. He should be using OEM, original manufacturer's equipment. In other words, the same parts that were in your regulator when you bought it are the parts that should be used to service it. And in order to accomplish that, the manufacturers now supply a kit. So instead of having one of those little blue boxes, parts boxes filled with O-rings and filters and clips and so on the wall, now he gets a kit. So you bring in your, you bring in your Mark 25 Scuba Pro regulator, and oh, that's great, we can do that. He reaches up on the wall and he takes off Mark 25 service kit. Wow. You have an S600 second stage, he reaches over, S600 service kit. And inside those kits are all the parts that would be needed to service your Mark 25 S600 or whatever it happens to be. Another important point is that no longer does a good regulator service person replace the parts that he thinks need to be replaced. He looks at them, inspects them carefully. Yeah, that's pretty good, put it back in. Doesn't happen anymore. No. Their service kit comes with all the parts that should be replaced in that regulator to return it to original as new condition. So you put them all in. You know, if you take an O-ring out of the regulator, and the regulator, by the way, when it's disassembled, is spread out. It's all there, every part. And you take a look and you say, well, that O-ring is pretty good, I'll put it back in. This O-ring is no good, I'll get rid of it. No. You don't do that. You go to this O-ring, old, new one, going in. And he does that. Every part that should be replaced is in the kit, and they should all be used. So that's what you should be expecting. Maybe when you're in looking at the service area, if you can, you might be able to see those kits on the wall. Now look here. This is some Kevin's regulator. Now we're talking about a regulator that leaves a lot of service. Kevin does a lot. He just came back from a dive trip a short while ago. And when he went in to pick up his regulator after service, at the store he was at, they gave him this little bag. They said, yeah, your regs have been serviced, Mr. Smith, and here are the parts that we replaced. And you can now take those parts, and I'm going to dump them out here. You can see exactly what happened here. You can take those parts and spread them out, and there they are. And there's, I think that's the piston O-ring, and there is the mushroom valve, the exhaust valve in the second stage, and there's the filter. Boy, dirty filter, Kevin. You need more careful. There's your second stage seat, and the high pressure. It's all there. Look all on the O-rings. Must be 15, 20 O-rings there. And there's the second stage low pressure seat on the poppet. Those are all very special parts. You can't buy those at Canadian Tire. And there's a little, is that a split ring? A little Teflon, very, very common. Teflon rings are very common now. Some of them are split. Anyway, there's all the parts. So now Kevin can see, okay. What was this for? And he can ask, there's all the parts, used parts. And they give them to you. That's a sign of a good service. They actually give you the parts. No, they're not giving you those parts. There's a little tiny one there. I missed that one, Kevin. Look at that. Size of a peppercorn. Anyway, they're not giving those to you so you can use them. No, no, no. They're giving them to you for a couple of reasons. The first reason is to prove, if they have to prove that these are the parts we took out. There's the service kit. There are 17 parts and there's 7. It's been done. We've replaced every part in there, Mr. Smith. This O-ring was actually in pretty good shape, but it's in the kit. We replaced it. Okay? You can keep all those parts. You can take them home, look at them, whatever you want to do. Throw them out. Just throw them out. Once your regulator is completely serviced, parts have all been replaced, and you have seen the used parts, and you're satisfied the service was done properly, get rid of them. Don't try to. Some people say, well, look at that filter is actually not that bad. It's a little brown, but it's pretty good. No, don't do that. Throw the darn. It isn't worth anything. And you don't want to make a mistake and have something that was used somehow end up back in a regulator. But my point is that your local dive store should be doing the service that way, using original equipment service kits and replacing every part. Every part that's in the service kit goes into the regulator. And then, to cap it all off, public relations, that's the second reason why they should do this, put all those used parts in a little bag, clip it to the invoice, show it to the customer. It's just good business, smart, makes the diver feel good, and he knows that you've done a good job. Anyway, when you go into your local dive store, ask them if they return the used parts. And I wanted to tell you about Dirty Adventures Scuba. Yeah. So apparently Jeff, very, very nice guy, you'll meet him sometime. Jeff wanted to open a dive store because he's a scuba diver. He also happened to be a mountaineer. They wanted to open a store, a business, that featured both of those extreme sports, scuba diving and climbing. Well, you know what? This is interesting when you talk to next time you talk to your life insurance agent. He couldn't open a store that featured mountaineering. Too dangerous. The insurance was too high. So he had to settle for scuba. That's right. Scuba is a very, very safe sport. Well, in a few more years I'll be 80, and I still scuba dive. Point being that from 6 to 90, 9 to 90, whatever, you can scuba dive anytime. So when I scuba diving point is safe, and Jeff discovered this himself when he tried to start a business that involved both mountaineering and scuba, and at that time he decided, with some help from some of his friends, he would call it Dirty Adventure Scuba. Well, he kept the name. And it's not Dirty Adventure Mountaineering and Scuba, just Dirty Adventure Scuba. Now, it's kind of neat, because when he says, yeah, I'm the owner of Dirty Adventure, you say, what? What? If somebody says, I'm the owner of Scuba Dive Store, or the Wet Shop, or whatever it happens to be, okay, Dirty Adventure, what? Almost sounds, anyway. Okay, there you go. Dirty Adventure Scuba in Georgetown. Alec, Peirce Scuba. Talk to you soon.